Hi guys, welcome back to Ball Sense. And yeah, I've been away for a while, and I've just not been able to get to any of the videos, but also haven't been really able to find any interesting topics to talk about. So, which is why I took a little bit of a break. But now I'm back now, and today I'm going to talk about Leicester City and how they're showing signs that they could break into the top four next season. Now I know most of you all would say, "Well, Leicester City, Wolves might have more of a chance." Why is this guy saying Leicester City? But if you look at Leicester City, I will go into why I think they have a serious chance to maybe break into the top four, and why their squad is showing those signs and how they're doing it. To get into it, obviously Wolves have been the standout team. If you look at it from the team that is not in the top six, Wolves have been the standout. Simply because also not only because of the way they've played against big teams, but also because of the way they entertain. They don't play boring football. They're not too defensive, and therefore they are very attacking and with speed, and they have a lot of good players that you would not normally see in a team that's below the top six, and that's why Wolves are been the eye-catching team, especially since this is the first time they got promoted. But we're talking about Leicester City today, and Leicester City, they're very they've gone under the radar, if you ask me, this season, simply because they've had issues this season. Their manager has changed mid-season. They had the tragedy with the chairman passing away, and they weren't settled on a particular style, and they took a bit of a time to get going. But if you look at where they are and the players that they have, and how they've performed, they are as good as Wolves, or you know, they're even, you can say, even better than Wolves if you look at the team as a whole. Now, Wolves, if you look at it, they don't have much in depth because their first 11 is really strong. But when you look at who they have in depth, they're not. They have potential players, but they don't have players that can really, you know, fill in like for like for the first teamers. And therefore, when you look at Leicester City now with Brendan Rodgers, you have to say that they have a big chance. Why? Because first of all, the older players that they have a perfect, most balanced squad, if you ask me, with older players and younger players. If you look at the older players that they do have, which are above, I would say 28 and above, they're all title winners. They were part of that glorious Leicester City team that won the title, that had that incredible achievement. You have Jamie Vardy, Wes Morgan, Christian Fuchs, Danny Simpson. Albeit some of them may not play regularly, but they're part of the squad, and they're there. They have that experience. They have 9 players under 23 in their squad, and out of the 9, 4 of them or 5 of them start. Now, it goes between 4 to 6 sometimes. They even have sometimes 6 starting in the first 11 that's under 23, and most of the time it's 4. And they have 4 other players that are in their prime, which are between the ages of 25 to 30, so they're yet to hit their prime. And some of them could be key players next season if they hit their prime and have that one amazing seasons. To mention a few, Rashid Ghazal from Lyon, he's 26 years old. He was supposed to be the so-called replacement of Mahrez. Um, he hasn't really worked out for him well this season. He's just been getting into it, first season in the Premier League. Um, so he could maybe have a brilliant season next season as he'll get more settled. You have Nampales Mendy, who's a defensive midfielder who has energy and gets around. Again, he's 26, still yet to see the best of him. And like I said, the remaining players that are there are players that are under 23, and or they are part of the title winning team, and that's why they have so much balance. Obviously, we don't know yet what Leicester City will do in the transfer market. Um, what it looks like definitely is that Danny Simpson and Shinji Okazaki would be leaving, which is um, not really a big loss. Although having said that, they are 2 of the title winners. Um, Although they can be replaced, Okazaki can definitely be replaced, and as well as Danny Simpson. You look at some of the other players that are in their prime. It's Harry Maguire, Ricardo Pereira, Porto left right back, Champions League experience, and Harry Maguire. Like, you have, assuming he doesn't get picked up by any of the big teams, He's been linked with Manchester United, Manchester City. So assuming he doesn't get picked up by any of the big teams, that could also be uh, a player entering his prime and still yet to see the best of him. So Leicester City, they are a team that, with Brendan Rodgers, it makes a big difference because um, I'd like to think that if they did not have to go through some of the adversity that they did, they would have been much higher up the table. Considering everything that they have been through, they're only 3 points behind Wolves in seventh place. They could still get that seventh place and still qualify for the Europa League. But assuming they don't qualify for the Europa League and Wolves do get it this season, Leicester City will have another season again that will be from week to week where they wouldn't have to play any midweek games. We saw how the Europa League affected Burnley last season. We're yet to see how it could affect Wolves. But Leicester City, why they're outsiders, that's one of the reasons as well. They could just have their players play week to week. We saw in their title winning season how that helped them. And if they keep the squad together with these young players that they have that are below 23, mixed with the experienced players and maybe one or two signings, I think Leicester City could really break into the top four because one thing that we have learned this season, it's all about team chemistry and team spirit that's valued more nowadays rather than just big spending, big signings. Manchester United will get a few signings, but I don't think they will just hit the ground running. I think they'll have another season of transition. As for Arsenal, it's a hit and miss over there with Emery. They could maybe revamp the squad and do well, or they could, again, take time with it. And again, with signings, it's a thing you never know who you're going to sign and if they're going to adjust to the Premier League or not. Arsenal signed Lichtsteiner with loads of experience, and he hasn't cut it out. So similarly, the signings are not guaranteed. But with Leicester City, what you do have right now is a team that knows the Premier League, that's played in the Premier League, and that can push on and play more consistently under Brendan Rodgers, simply because he has the experience of putting out a consistent team with Celtic, with winning the league. He knows what it takes to be a consistent team throughout a period of games. He also has been with Liverpool in the past, and he knows the pressure that's required. But I'm sure he's not going to feel under pressure at Leicester City because he'll be up for the challenge. Because, like I said, even if you look at it right now, many people, especially the media outlets, they look at Leicester City are the underdogs. Their people praise Wolves a lot more than they do Leicester City. But when you look at it, Leicester City are as good, or if not even better at times, than Wolves. When you talk about beating the big teams as well, the lot of light that shines that Wolves have beaten all the big teams. But if you look at Leicester City as well, they've beaten Manchester City at the King Power. They've drawn Liverpool at Anfield. They've beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They've beaten Arsenal at the King Power. So they have the potential to replicate that. One thing that will be key is a potentially permanent deal for Yuri Tillemont. Again, 21 years old, incredible player, and he's fitted right in. I think he will stay, and I think he will make his deal permanent. And it still remains to be seen who they will sign in the summer. So that's Leicester City, and I think Leicester City can really break into the top four. They're showing signs that they can, but it remains to be seen. As for the other big teams who might drop out, well, like I said, Chelsea are showing inconsistency. We don't know whether Sarri will be there or not. With Arsenal, again, it's a hit and miss. We don't know whether they'll revamp their squad or whether they will keep going, or what kind of. They're very inconsistent. With Man United, I think it will definitely take time. They're only now just starting to show faith in Solskjaer. So I think one of those three teams, or if not all of those three teams, could drop out and make way for Leicester City to break into that top four. But yeah, I'm putting this video out because I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, if Leicester City did that, and a lot of people would be surprised. We saw Ajax this season in the Champions League taking everyone by surprise. But if you look at it, just a couple of years back, they reached the Europa League final, so which they lost against Manchester United, and it's no surprise that because they've kept that core of a team together, that they are where they are. And similarly, I'm banking on Leicester City to keep the core of the team with their young players together and have a consistent, serious challenge to break into the top four. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers would want that. He's not a manager that would settle for about 8 to 10. He's similarly with like Benitez. One of the reasons why Rafa Benitez wants to leave Newcastle is because he's not content with just being in mid-table and fighting relegation. He wants more, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why Brendan Rodgers made that leap from Celtic to Leicester City, because he definitely believes with the players that he does have on the roster and with the players that he could maybe bring in, they could really push. They don't need too many signings as well, maybe one forward, because if you look at the forward, considering Okazaki might leave, they have Vardy and Iheanacho. Iheanacho has been a hit and miss this season, but again, he's only 22 years old, and a lot more to come from him. So if they can maybe get in one striker to ease on the workload of Jamie Vardy, I think they could be in with a shout. And if they can maybe even get one midfielder, one defender, maybe a right back or a left back, I think that would also help them. So that's it. That's it from me on Ball Sense. Stay tuned for more. I will be dropping out more videos. I'm back again, and hopefully we can analyze some of these teams going in, and we can also look forward to what the plans are. When the season ends, there will be a lot of transfer news and transfer dailies video uploaded to inform you about players that have been linked with clubs and what's happening in the transfer market. And follow Ball Sense on Instagram to keep up to date with daily transfer news, transfer rumors, and player scouting. That's it from me. Thank you, and until next time.